Just delicate. No, come right on in. You're not late. You said you would be here after sundown. I'm a fool for these little ornate light holders. Gives it a little color. How are you? Come, get comfortable. Take a seat. Well, I've only been back less than a day, and I was gone for 4 years, accumulating and seeing the world for what feels like my 14th, 100th time. How are you? You look well. Glad to hear it. Business is a fickle thing. I'm just reminding myself what we traded last time you were here. I think it was the year. Yes, it was. It feels like 10 lifetimes ago. He was a good king. Tragedy. Well, he messed with the wrong woman, didn't he? Yes, I remember. I was actually able to pick up some of that, yes, the monk's special, as it was lovingly known in the region. They are a wily folk. I have to show you something else before we get started. I had the most remarkable encounters while I was away. All different kinds of people, from all walks of life, such as the merchant way. And one such individual met another individual, and through that inspiration created this. No. This is no mere pipe. In fact, this is a bripe. Well, that brings me on to my second. I met a gent from Amsterdam, and he showed me this. I thought it was soil to begin with, this little container, little vial of a rich smelling aroma. Smell. He said this was coffee, and he was sailing for what he said felt like 10,000 years. And him and his crew happened upon a country that we now lovingly call Indonesia. And they traded the Dutch flowers for this Indonesian spice that, when mixed with water, gives a rich amber color. They called it coffee, and I've yet to try it. Second individual took this coffee and he combined his love of smoking a pipe with coffee. I'm very excited to try it. But the water had to be a certain heat, which, happily, I was in the Venetian area of Istria, and I got talking with a charismatic individual. He was a local man. Santorio, his name. Very well known in Istria. And this man had devised an instrument that tells us how hot water is. So these three individuals, the coffee, the Bripe, and Santorio, will culminate in a rather colourful evening. I just need to add some water. And, my goodness, you must be parched. Where are my manners? Well, we have a lot of drinks to get through, so bear with me just a moment. Even with room temperature water. And now we just hold it over the heat. So, while this is heating up, I have a little clamp over here. Let me fix you a drink. We have a lot on offer, my friend. I've also had the maid prepare a gentle little meal for us, of which I think you will like very much. Excuse me. The Bripe only takes a couple of minutes to prepare, apparently, depending on the heat you apply to it. It's coming together nicely. A drink. Well, as you know, we have the finest well in our very backyard. Something to wet the whistle. Glassblower from Tuscany. He assures me that drinking from his glass will make any water taste godsend. Now, before you, you'll find a series of glasses. Whatever glass I use, I'd like you to use that big brain of yours and use the same glass. Before that, I think my Bripe is ready. Santorio. What an individual. Now that is gorgeous. So, my friend, tell me, what news do we have? It was strange coming back after so many years. But, apologies, I should have squirreled my gold away, but I was very fortunate. I met amongst two men, actually. Let's start with this. Cabernet Franc, and interesting little gentleman called Sauvignon Blanc. Two Frenchmen. Don't hold it against them. These two fine fellows had come together in a merchant's tavern, and they were discussing the properties of a particular grape. And between them, the two of them have produced what they call a wine. Now, they assured me that it must be sold. We'll get to this later. That it must be sold and served in what they called a carafe. Now, inside here is grape juice allowed to ferment. Now, I don't understand the process exactly, but what I can tell you is it's like a very expensive beer. Between the two of them, they were still arguing about what to call the wine, but you are going to like this. This glass. Be very careful with the pour. Excellent. Just a little, the maid will kill me if I spill on the floor. You never know who pays who in this household. Now, you'll have to excuse me while I revel in prosperity. Don't drink it. Like, no haste. It's not drunk like beer. It's enjoyed. The first time, I'll tell you what, this tastes even nicer. The 6 months I was traveling. Interesting. I actually went to their plantation and got blind drunk on something that wasn't quite as tasty as this, but that is very, very nice. 3 cases. I'll put you down for a case. I had a feeling Mm. Mm. It would go down well with you. The key to being a semi-successful merchant is understanding your clientele. And I like to think I know you. Ink. Vitamin 9. My kingdom. For a quill that holds the ink. I tell you. Do not let me forget this. It's, well, it's a blend, actually. One that I think you are going to enjoy. Now, great. And the Cabernet. Good. Six gold pieces. Times have changed, my friend. Gone are the days you could get a lick of alcohol for half a crown. Never mind a crate of the finest liqueur in the world. Indeed. You'll have to forgive me. It's not that I don't trust you. I've known you a very long time. But I got to counting the gold, since I thought you were going to be a little later than you were. He took his own boat. Geoffrey was a fantastic sailor. Strong merchant, but that lad has to do things on his own, as do we all. But the seas, have a way of corrupting men. To the king. In fact, Geoffrey was he was sweet on a lass up at Hampstead. Begged him not to go. But, well, the lure of gold. Well, He has his own vessel. And I wish him luck. Still, such is life. Never mind me. Now, the wine has given you a gentle glaze around the eye. It's the beauty of a Bripe. It can last as long as you like it to. Indonesia. Black spice of coffee. Now, we have you sold on the case, but let me show you something else. Have you ever heard of a pineapple? Pine is in our pine trees, combined with an apple. That's actually a lie. It's not that at all. Let me show you. This is pineapple juice. The juice of the pineapple fruit. Now, I actually saw this fruit with my own eyes deep inside this thick, dense forest. Remember Winston Scott? He had sailed these seas long, long before me and happened upon an island of very friendly natives. And he traded his spices and wares in exchange for a small piece of land, which he started cultivating these pineapples. Very strange fruit. Kind of sharp, protruding spikes on it. Looks like a devil, actually. But the juice of this fruit. Oh, wait, just you wait. Just you wait. The water glass. And it's held under pressure because everything is drawn to this. It's sweet. Every bug in the land would be at it. Have a smell. Excellent. Good. Good. In some cultures, only a touch. It's considered rude to pour your glass first, but to hell with that. They didn't sail the 7 seas retrieving the stuff. I have 2 cases of this, but being honest, I don't know for how long it'll keep. We hold it at the bottom of the hull where it's cold. He said it would last about 2 weeks. I sailed for 8 days on my final leg. I think it'll be good for a week. Cheers. There's a bite. The fruit itself quite fibrous. In some ancient cultures of this native tribe, they actually serve the fruit of the pineapple on top of meat. And these little circles with all sorts of toppings, they throw this, they call them rings of pineapple. Bizarre, primitive, but my God, ambrosia itself, this isn't cheap. 30 gold pieces, but I'll do you a discount, given the short lifespan. I'll do you 15 for the case. Hold yourself a party on Friday. Invite. You should have asked her to marry you a long time ago. Interesting. It's funny how life moves while we sail. But that is beautiful. Every time we set sail, you always wonder if this could be the last time you see your homeland. And I can't help but wonder if that's what makes it so appealing. Because when you come home and you've made it, everything tastes the sweeter for it. Now, let me put you down for pineapple. I hope you're keeping tab. I know you're good for the money. How's the farm been? Harvest was always strange in those kinds of years. Glad to hear business is thriving. You were always lucky. What did Mildred used to say? The luckiest of the luck to the most immoral of men. She hated you. She did, she hated you. You were the bane of that woman's existence from when we were 6. I remember you used to steal her cabbages. Oh, we were beat something fierce that night. They weren't even that nice. Oh, we were hungry though. Still. Speaking of which, I've prepared a little tray of treats for us. Most of it's local produce, but an exception. Well, this cheese, 40 years old. 40 years old. And apparently for every year it ages, a new flavor is developed. Kurokai monks were very insistent that this is the case. He should have been a merchant. The man could have sold ice-cold water to a Scotsman. Nevertheless, Maid baked the scones, the double-clotted cream that I know you love, figs from a 3-month sail from a land I probably couldn't even navigate back to. They don't taste the same as the French figs. Sweeter. That was a hot country. Felt like the devil's land itself. Wonderful people, though. Kind and hospitable. Speaking of which, please, help yourself. The gent that sold me the Indonesian black coffee soil, he also sold me a little bit of this, what he calls Danish blue. Now, he traveled from the far lands up north, and he says that this cheese is made in a rather peculiar way. I'll let you try it first. Wow. I don't care how they make it. If it tastes as good as that. Well, according to him, the Danish, a land I've yet to see, way up north, where the land is almost always white, he says they allow some kind of rot to eat the cheese. It came to my attention this gentleman had a penchant for the dramatic. Maybe he was telling the truth. Beautiful, though. Try the figs. That almost makes laying in bed for 4 days with sun blisters worth it. Almost. Thought the blisters were going to kill me. A little water. Life is good, my friend. Long may it continue to be. To the Queen. Mildred's, well, she refuses to die. That's the constant in Mildred's life. On the earth. I picked that monkey up in, well, they called it Arabia. It wasn't too far from where I picked up the figs. Way out in the deserts. And this little monkey would move through the crowds. And I remember I was bidding on some camels, and I felt just the tiniest little pinch of my coin purse. And I go to grab the monkey's arm. And I hear, Mildred, Mildred. And there's a man running, bright red. Turned out that Mildred had a fixation for gold. Now it could be that he was running an elaborate scheme that he trained Mildred to pinch coin purses, but, well, if that was the case, karma found that man 3 days later. The sickness took him. Mildred came back with me. That is really quite remarkable. If a new flavor is added every year, I wonder what it tastes like in 10 more. He assured me it can never spoil. Wonderful. My sister hates this stuff. I remember the first time I returned back. I was only in France and Italy, and I picked up some of this cheese. It's a soft, sticky cheese they call brie. And I thought it was going to make me millions. We docked at port. I ran back to my family's house as a baby merchant would. I shared some of my purchases with my family, one of which was the brie. Turns out that my sister hates any kind of cheese, even when you sailed what feels like halfway around the world to find it. We all have our things. One thing I did find in my time in Greece. Eating grapes from the vine. Divine. Strange land. Governed by religion now, it seems. Well, I thought you would never ask. Call it the King's Hand. They say it's solid gold, but I don't think it is. I'll have Trevor check it over later. I won it in a tournament, actually. Mercantile. We were given 1 gold piece each. And we were dropped in a town. And whoever made the most money after 3 days was awarded the King's Hand. Needless to say, I was your victor. Keswick's a terrible man. He always was. Rotten to the bone. Well, what I will say for Keswick, he knows the worth of an individual just by looking at them. He always had a way of reading people, you know. Well, let's crack into the sweet stuff. The maid knows your favorites. Now, way down south, there was a, couldn't call it a war because it was small, but a vicious argument between two villages about whether the jam goes on before the cream. And of course that's ridiculous, because the cream has to go on first, because cream doesn't spread very easily, and you don't want to be trying to spread jam on top of cream, or cream on top of jam. Then just a little bit of jam. I'll be that. To hell with both of them. Let's add it as we like. She will never give me this recipe. Said it's her great-great-great-grandmother's, and that all the women in her family could only share it with the eldest daughter. And if there's no daughter to share it with, it goes to the grave. I'll buy her out yet. Beautiful. Wow. Speaking of which, there's something else I have to show you. Try the strawberries before we put it to the side. Sweet. Perfectly ripened. Beautiful. I'll have more broth if you need. Now, this little device the two liquids on their own vial, undigestible. I've only tried tan-colored, but I'm assured that the cream-colored is even worse. But together, and they have to be served in a very particular glass. They're called tumbleweeds. And the glass blower puts in a little rounded point. And once both liquids are added, the glass is spun. And if any other glass, if you try stirring with cutlery, won't work. The rivets and indents allow for a larger surface area, apparently. I can't speak to the truth of it. It was a great sale pitch. But what I can attest to is these liquids are vile on their own, just smallest amount. Excellent. And then it turns 3 times. One more. And then you drink. Wow. Let's have another. Too many. We'll have you crawling to your bed and missing mass the next day. Bottoms up. Interesting. The alcohol is barely present on the second drink. I was told never to have more than 2, which is why we're going to have 3. We're almost done anyway. Whoops. Fast acting, they say. One, 2. Let's drink after 2. Actually, no, I remember I vomited for 3 days. Do 3. Savor the 3rd. Or drink it like there's no tomorrow. Smooth. I only got 6 bottles. Couldn't even fill a case. 16 pieces a bottle. I know we drank it like it was water, but this stuff is incredibly, incredibly rare. And I will put you down for all 6. You are an individual after my own heart. That is remarkable, actually. And it's funny because the second shot, they say, will go immediately to the head and impact the senses, but the 3rd, if you make it to 3, realigns you in the most relaxing way. Let me take a note of. There you go. Now, you said all 6. Are you sure? That's not the liquor talking. 6 individuals. They're called callus creams. But that was her name for them anyway. I thought it was painfully appropriate. Indeed. We have there's 2 more to go. The next one I think you might pass on. But everything washes everything down wonderfully. The Bripe. Now this next one. Rather sinister looking vase. seed of the swan. No, it's a flower. It's poured into a very specific glass, and it tastes always the first ring. For the princess. Wow. It's not alcohol. It's a flower that grows in the woods to the far east, and they're pressed. And its flavor can only be likened to a light honey. And although it has the illusion of cream or a milk, it's the viscosity that makes it so desirable. Another, unlike milk and cream, this doesn't curdle with time. It is, however, very rich. Said to be full of healing properties. But the rule with the band, story goes, that drinking more than the band at once is considered greedy by the forest, and for every section above the first band, an ailment of varying duration befalls the imbiber. It was a shaman that told me this story, and, well, their necklace was made of human teeth, and I was of no mind to query the logic or the accuracy of the myth. I came back with 10 cases of the swan seed. They have it en masse. But it's expensive because they know they're the only people on this beautiful planet that can produce it. Sure. Great cases it is. And now, finally, this has been sitting quietly. Granted an unusual container. Two drops only. Now, have a smell. Acidic. This little brown liquid is said to cure all ailments, all illnesses. Ten parts water, 1 part they call it Kavaliauskas. Now what I can say is that it tastes goddamn awful. Better drink it as one, my friend. But apparently it cures hangovers, kills blight. You feel better already. I can't account for everything they claim, but Kavaliauskas is an interesting drink. There was a boy in the village that was struck down with a fever, and Kavaliauskas is produced from a very specific leaf from a very rare plant. It's pressed, and it takes very many leaves to make even the smallest amount. To fill a vial like this apparently would cost more than the entirety of my stock. The king of their land hoards it. The plant will only grow in one very specific section of the island. There was a boy dying of fever, and his mother had no money to pay for the legendary Kavaliauskas. Well, he was always a sucker for an individual in need. One serving was all it took. I paid handsomely, but for the quart of the file, 56 gold pieces. I'm doing you a solid here, my friend. I'm probably losing on that. I'll put you down. That little we just drank, it's more than my deckhand gets paid for a full campaign. Quart, Kavaliauskas. Your total is not an insignificant amount, my friend. We can worry about payment tomorrow. I'll have everything boxed and crated and have it taken up. No, I understand. It's late. I'm tired. It is always an honor and a pleasure to see you, my friend. No, I'll be spending the rest of the year making it up to my wife that I was gone for so long. And next season, we'll see. Every year I say it's my last, and the seas draw me back. But this year was good. Land. That steed that kids are always talking about. Yes. Anyway, everything will be shipped to you tomorrow, first sunrise. It's my pleasure. Thank you. You'll sleep well this night. And according to Kavaliauskas' law, wake up hangover free.